As earlier indicated, former First Lady Bonginge Zuma will be hosting her foundation's annual high tea this weekend in Pretoria. The event is in its 6th year now and advocates men and women to work together to end the scourge of women and child abuse. Right, Richard is in the studio having a conversation with her.
All right, thank you very much, Flo. We've got not one but two distinguished women in studio. Dr. Ngema Zuma and, of course, Nobusantu Mazibuko joining us in studio to chat more about this exclusive and fantastic foundation. Ladies, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. First of all, Dr. Zuma, talk to us about this foundation, how it got started, and the various causes that you are supporting.
Well, the foundation was started in 2010, August to be precise, so it's our birth month as well. Our vision is to see a South Africa where diabetes ceases to be a killer due to lack of awareness. But then we look at diabetes within the broader social context. So diabetes does not exist on its own. Our pillars are three. The first one is health, central to diabetes and associated diseases, or within the NCD spectrum. The second pillar is education. And the third pillar is the empowerment and development of vulnerable citizens, which now tomorrow we'll be addressing both the first and the third pillar.
All right, we're going to talk about the diabetes in detail, but you have a special theme for this foundation and for the event tomorrow, which is men and women coming together to stop violence against women. My question to you is, men and women coming together, why is it important for men to be part of the solution? Because they're definitely the problem.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No.
Explain.
My exposure to the men that I know, like my father, my brothers, they're not a problem.
Good. It's important to correct that narrative, isn't it?
It's very much important. Also, if we talk about a problem that we think is caused by men and talk to ourselves, who's going to help us solve it? So men are critical in this conversation. We need the buy-in of those men that are not violent so that they can also spread the word to those that are violent.
Great.
But also we have to appreciate the men that are not violent, that are good men. So,
all right, that's very important to know. Ms. Mazibuko, you please join in the conversation. Why is it important to get men involved to stop this scourge?
As women, we find that it's a long overdue that we talk to men, because psychologically and socially, men are given a higher place of power. Where a boy is born in a family, it's said uvusmuzi, amandla kayise. It's then coming back, and the chores in the house become very practical to say the place of the woman is in the kitchen. So if we come and socialize men and boys differently to say we equal, let's get a conversation together and stop buying dolls for little girls and guns for young boys.
Okay, this is an open-ended question, but I've asked a lot of my guests, and hopefully you can articulate it for me. How should women be treated?
Women must be treated as sisters, as bearers of giving birth, as very important that when God saw that Adam was free in the Garden of Eden, he said, let's get him a companion. It's companionship. And we were taken from a rib, which is the strongest part of the body, where everything is encompasses, your intestines, your heart, and everything. So the woman comes in, and the rules and the regulations and the treaties in the world are saying women are important. So all we're saying as women, can we be equal? And equality comes from the womb. When you take that child out as a mother and bond with that baby boy, with my baby girl, it stops to be violent. Where does it start actually? That's why we are engaging men tomorrow to say, yes, we are brothers and sisters, and over to be wife and husband. Where does the violence come in? And especially in the places of higher education, in the lower primary schools, where the gardener and the person in charge to let the children cross the street violate, and gender-based violence starts from the household. We are not abused by our foreigners or strangers. It is the very uncle at home. It is the very neighbor. It is my husband who abuses me and becomes violent. For a better word, why and when does violence start? Because we have to be so conversational. And the love should not go out of the window when things don't come okay.
Now, Dr. Zuma, she used an analogy, women were taken from the rib of men. Now, when we talk of gender equality, is that a positive or a negative? What would our critics could take that analogy and somewhat,
For me, it's a positive because we are there as carers. We care for the nation. We build the nation. I always say, where women are strong, that family stands. Where the woman is strong, that family stands. But we need to work together. The other thing that maybe Mam Nomasonto covered, where I want to be precise, is like this thing of taking a girl child to work. That's where we start discriminating people according to gender. Because if I have a boy child, when will he experience coming to work with mom or with dad? If it's always taken. So we start treating and protecting girls over that. Sometimes it creates hatred from the boys, that the girl is taken more care of. It's daddy's girl. It's everything is about the girl. And then some of the boys start, feeling that they're not liked by, society.
Understood.
They're not accepted.
Understood. Yeah. Let's talk more about this scourge, Dr. Zuma. So many rights groups have lended their voices to this scourge. When are we going to know as a society that we're doing better? In other words, do we have any statistics that speak to the fact that things are getting better or worse?
I think the Commission for Gender Equality may have very much near perfect statistics. Our police reports, they also report on gender. But the painful thing is that it's happening every day. Every day you hear of something new. One of the guests that had registered to come to our event tomorrow just called me yesterday to say, no, the boyfriend to the niece has just stabbed the niece, so she's taking care of the baby. So while we are preparing for this, it's still happening. And it has to end somewhere. We have to stop it.
Ms. Mazibuko, define gender equality.
Gender equality is when we say both men and women are equal. It is a constitutional right that we become equal. It's not only for women. There is the influence that when we talk gender equality, we talk of empowerment of women. No, we're not saying that. And when we came back and said 50-50, men stood away and say it's only when women are given power over them. When are we going to have a men's month when we have a women's month? No. Gender equality, it was just reminding people that everybody is equal before the law, is equal at school, is equal when we go to the workplace, and equal even when it comes to remuneration. Because equality and gender equality, everybody is struggling to say which is the right definition. But I want to say today, gender equality says, treat me the way you want yourself to be treated as men. As we climb the ladder of success, let women and men go together. Because we start being at home, get to school, get to the workplace. So where are women left behind?
All right, Dr. Zuma, tomorrow is the 6th annual event. Take us through some of the activities of the day. I hear fundraising is going to be a big part of the event.
Fundraising is a big part of the event, but we start with screening. People come in to register for registration at 12, but you have to pre-register. You'll be just taking your name. And then there is a screening for diabetes. There will be professional nurses at the BNZ Foundation stand. Know your number.
Okay.
We have to know where you stand so that you can put interventions on time.
All right.
to prevent or to prolong the onset of type 2 diabetes, for instance.
Okay.
And then from there, we have women-owned businesses, the small businesses that will be exhibiting there. We have the Ndebele beads, the women that do Ndebele beads. We have the ones that we've been empowering since 2012 that are doing the Zulu beads from Mandeni. We have some girls that do Sogam Revolution. We have a GG Boutique for fit and fat people. And then we have quite a number. Nomonde wines. We have also for the girls that make hats. There's also sisters that are making cakes. So we give them the platform to exhibit their stuff to clientele that they would not ordinarily reach by themselves. Because remember, we have our big corporates that sponsor us as part of the audience. So they can see their work and then start maybe buying from them.
Okay, let's talk about the fundraising. Is there a target figure that you're hoping to meet tomorrow?
The sky is the limit.
The sky is the limit. Now,
come with your wallet full.
Am I invited? I don't know how much I can. Am I invited? I'm not sure I'm in that tax bracket that can make a difference.
A cent makes a difference because for us, we raise funds so that we can host the World Diabetes Day commemoration in November, and that's where we target communities that cannot pay a thing. So we go out to rural, we go out to townships, and then we gather people who want to screen as many people as we can as part of our mandate from International Diabetes Federation. So in November, we go out in full, but targeting communities that cannot pay a thing. But to host this big event costs us an arm and a leg. So that is why we raise funds now, while we also celebrate women and also celebrate Women's Month. And those people that have contributed to our cause in the past year, we award them, so we acknowledge them. And then those funds are used for the World Diabetes Day and other programs.
Okay. Now, speaking of diabetes, a lot has been made of the devastation that it has had on our society at large, but I feel not enough has been spoken about the cause of diabetes. Could you talk to us about that?
Well, there are two types of diabetes, two common types, let me say. There's type 1 diabetes, where your pancreas just stops working or your body does not produce insulin. The causes for type 1 diabetes are not known. Of the 452 million people that live with diabetes around the world, 10% are known to be having type 1 diabetes. It used to be known as juvenile diabetes because it manifests quite early in life, commonly. And then you get type 2 diabetes, which is the 90% of the 452 million people that live with diabetes. Many things lead to type 2 diabetes. One, family history. If you have someone in your family that had diabetes, you may have, it's not like you will have diabetes, but you must know that there is a certain percentage that you are predisposed to diabetes. Then, if your age is beyond 35 and you are not physically active, you just drive through at KFC, you come through the lift, you don't walk even half a kilometer a day or how many steps a day, and you don't do anything to modify your diet. When we talk about diet, people think there is a specific diabetes diet. There isn't none. We all should be having the same kind of food. It's how you prepare it. Right. I always say, let's not think about maybe the expensive vegetables that are rare and not common in townships.
I was about to say that. I was about to bring that up.
So when we talk to like communities that are primary target audience, we say from your street corner, there is someone who's selling pumpkin. There is someone who's selling potato and leafy vegetables, the spinach and the cabbage. So how you prepare those, let's start with what you eat and how you prepare it. Pap, people think now when you're diabetic, you can't eat pap. You can, but in moderation. Okay. It shouldn't be more. Right. The ideal plate, they would say it's like your quarter being protein, quarter being your starch, and then the rest being the vegetables.
But surely, Dr. Zuma, with the high cost of petrol, the high cost of living, it's difficult to live healthy. When you consider that white bread, for example, is welcomed in the zero-rated VAT list, the vast majority of the population are poor, and they tend to eat white bread, which usually has no nutritional value. Does this speak to the diabetes issue, in your opinion?
Some people have no other choices. Like we also, as the foundation, deliver 600 loaves of bread to different charities a month. So on a weekly basis, there is 150 loaves of bread to alleviate hunger, because there are kids that go to school with nothing on their stomachs. So there is a school that we support in Galfontein. There is an old age home in Mamelodi. There is also a shelter for homeless people. So those people do not have a choice of what to eat. because it's what is presented in front of them. So those you cannot judge. But still, if there is an opportunity to plant even a square meter of spinach and your beetroot and your carrots, then you can do well because you don't have to buy vegetables. Also, while you are doing your garden, you are exercising while tilting your garden and keeping it neat.
And so when we talk about the diabetes situation, how are we compared to other parts of the world? Where does South Africa stand?
Well, we say in half of the people that live with diabetes do not know that they have the condition. However, in Africa, 80% of people that live with the condition do not know that they have the condition, or some know that they have the condition, but they do not know how to manage it. So information is key. And that is where we, as the foundation, come in, is to say, be knowledgeable, make wise choices, but let us educate you that diabetes is not a killer. You can live a positive life with diabetes. If you take from where I come from, it's from a story of my mother who lived with diabetes for more than 20 years. Since I was started being aware of things, she was diabetic. But because she stick to the medication that was prescribed to her, also she loved vegetables, she loved her gardening. So she was exercising most of the time without being formal and saying, now I'm going to gym. Because also that's another stereotype. We think exercise goes hand in hand with paying money to go to a Virgin Active or Planet Fitness. No, you can walk around the block. You can use your stairs instead of the lift as part of doing something towards exercising.
Okay, I'm going to let Ms. Mazibuko have the last word. But Dr. Zuma, before I let you go, your foundation event tomorrow, give us an idea of some of the big names that are coming.
Well, we have some of the corporates like Mercedes-Benz that will be there. We have Mam Nomasonto as our keynote speaker. We have one of the, I won't mention the name, one of the queens from the Royal House of Swaziland.
Okay.
One of King Mswati's wives coming. So we have quite a few.
It's going to be amazing.
One of the ministers or some of the ministers.
No doubt it's going to be an amazing event. Ms. Mazibuko, I'll let you have the last word. What would you like to say to our viewers across South Africa?
As we celebrate Women's Month, having women like Mam Ngema Zuma, we're saying people with albinism, people with disabilities, come to the fore, because all of us, whilst we have our conditions, we also are susceptible to diabetes, and it is a disease that you have not even known. But as the foundation is going to educate, we're saying it is not a death sentence. Come along and speak about diabetes, and the message must go on to everybody, even to the deeper rurals. As women, let's know our status, not the HIV status only, even the uncommunicative diseases that we have. We are very proud to say, women, let's unite and look after our health.
Thank you so much. Two distinguished women. Don't forget, it's the 6th annual Bongi Ngema Zuma Foundation High Tea event taking place tomorrow in Pretoria. Ladies, thank you for your time, and I will be there.
Please be there. Thank you.
All right, it's right back to Flo in the studio.